Predators and Wood Fries this weekend, starting tomorrow, 6:30 Friday, 2 o'clock on Saturday, 1 o'clock on Sunday. Take questions for that.
Tim, how did, what did last week kind of do for y'all? How did you feel like you played overall?
We played. There's obviously some signs of improvement. Obviously, the results, winning 3 games is always feels good. Walking away from it, and got back to Lubbock, and guys got a day under their belt on Monday, and kind of got back after it on Wednesday once we got everything powered back up. And but last weekend we definitely took some steps in the right direction.
What did you like the best? Or what the areas where you made improvement? What was most?
Probably the biggest thing was we had 3 or 4 guys kind of pitch through some trouble, maybe some mistakes, and just kept pitching, and that's probably the most impressive thing over the weekend. Guys just kept pounding the ball in there and doing a good job of pitching.
How did you like the left side of your infield, I guess, where you put Pompey back at short and Bain at third?
Yeah, I mean, it looked fine. We turned double plays when it presented itself for the most part. And but again, like back to the other deal, we pitched through some things that we did that not necessarily had done up to this point. And guys are going to make some physical mistakes behind you, and we did some of that, and guys kept pitching. And it also was on the other side of that. I mean, there was times where maybe we put guys on and players pick the pitcher up. And so the game's always been built around picking each other up, and guys are doing a good job of that.
Actually, being at home is kind of rare for so far this season. How do you feel actually being home and having a conference series here?
Yeah, I feel really good now that we know we got power, and obviously we know we got everything you need to do to host a game. There were some things, again, like that's the school and Lubbock LP&L to be commended for that. We really appreciate what they did to kind of get everything going again. And but it's been an interesting week, in all honesty. Like, it's been interesting just from a standpoint of, I don't think we got into the cage until Wednesday, just based on all that. And so, again, but I think there's been a lot of people working really hard to get this part of Lubbock kind of going again, and we're very appreciative of that.
So did that have as much to do with the postponement of the Tuesday game?
Yeah, we wouldn't have had power till late that afternoon, so yeah, it had 100% to do with it.
TCU, they're a good ball program, but they're 1 and 2 in Big 12 play. What are some things that you don't want your guys to overlook when they come here so y'all can make sure to get the win?
Well, you just want to focus on things you can control, and you want to play good baseball. You want to everything that's associated with doing that. And you're right. I mean, Sarlous, Kirk's done a great job there. Mo coming back, and John Delar's done a really good job in their recruiting. For them over the last 5 or 6 years, and Dave Long going back over there, to help Kirk has really helped them, and they've been a good program for a long time. They got a good bunch of guys, and this league can do that to you. I mean, our guys know that as far as it can give you bad results, on any given day. We know they'll show up to play baseball.
Going back to your left infield, why did you like putting Garrett Bame at third base, Pompey at short, and Tracer at second? Are you going to stick with that plan? And how's it going to help you going into the rest of the year if you're going to stick with that?
We're going to stick with it. Yeah, absolutely, we're going to stick with it until you put somebody else in there, right? And Bame's been working really hard. Always liked his makeup. Always liked his physical strength. Again, so that's one thing. What we like about it? We won 3 games. That's probably the most simple thing.
Parker Hutera came in on Friday. Do you see him coming in as a pure reliever role, like as a reliable player for you the rest of the year?
He's definitely a bullpen guy. Towards the end of last year, we did run him out there as a starter. and really figured out, hey, this is a good niche for him. Let's leave him there. And he likes pitching out of the bullpen, and so yeah, we're going to leave him there. And absolutely, he's going to be a guy we go to.
How can you build off that performance you had last weekend into TCU?
Say that again.
How can you build off that Houston performance last weekend into TCU?
How does he?
How can the team build off of that?
So you build off of it by confidence. I mean, this game can tear a guy's confidence away very fast, and you build off of it by sticking to your process and adjusting your process as you go. And hopefully, as you do that, you gain confidence, and you keep trying to make progress as you go.
Rotation this weekend?
Same.
From Matt Hugh, or development-wise, what have you seen from him throughout the season to now have a one-hitter last Friday?
So, first of all, we played good defense behind him. We turned a few double plays. As far as his development goes, he's a big physical right-handed pitcher that you want to give every opportunity to just kind of stick to his process and his week to week and not base everything solely off of results, whether it's a one-hitter or whether it's 8 hits. You're going to give up hits. I mean, guys got aluminum bat in their hand, so you're going to give up some hits. The question is for all these guys is, can they just keep pitching? You know, whatever comes their way, can they just keep pitching? And Mac's always shown the ability to he's always made the effort to do that. He always, maybe it doesn't always work, but he's made the effort to do it, and that's all you can ask.
What was Jack doing well the other night? What was working for him during that scoreless outing that he had, Siebert?
Well, let's see. I would say when Siebert is really good, it's at least 3 pitches, and it's command, and he's ahead in the count. He had leverage in the count the whole day, and he had all 3 working.
And he only allowed 2 balls out of the infield in 73 pitches. Was he, I guess, keeping the ball down? Oh, he was getting a lot of ground balls. Keeping the ball down with a...
Yeah, he wasn't up in the zone much at all. He was definitely execute pitches where he wanted to execute them.
Coach Zach Crotchfeld has his cancer foundation. Kind of what kind of person is Zach?
What kind of person is he?
Yeah.
I mean, the Cancer Foundation kind of tells you. I mean, he's trying to make effort to bring awareness to cancer survivors, cancer patients. I think he's had some of that. You just talked to him. I think he's had some of that in his family, and it's something that's dear to him. He's a good teammate. You know, it's important to him that he included his teammates in that and offered for them, you know, to be a part of it. And I think he's a really good teammate. Is what I would tell you.
I know you obviously expected them all along to kind of do what they're doing, but Villeneuve and Hughes batting back-to-back in the 3-4 spots. How are you just liking how they're producing what they did last weekend and how that's kind of shaking out?
I think probably the interesting thing is we're still talking about last weekend because we had the midweek canceled, right?
Yeah.
And here it is on Thursday, and you're going to line up, play tomorrow, and this game's not very forgiving, and so you kind of need to be where your feet are. And at some point, use those good experiences to gain confidence moving forward, but at the same time, those guys have been really good. And all I mean is last weekend they were good. They put together good at-bats through the weekend, and found some holes for them.
For TCU's lineup, what do you see from them so far?
Got some really good young players. Just their whole roster, I would say, is and they've got some really good baseball players. Like I mentioned earlier, I think between Kirk and Mo and John, I mean, you look at their best hitter, I think he's an Ohio State transfer. That's where their hitting guy was from. He was there last year. John's done a really good job on the West Coast. Kirk's from the West Coast. As far as their lineup goes, I think it could change between now and tomorrow based on some stuff that happened on Tuesday. We'll see. My son played with one kid. I know his mom's not coming, and so he's not coming. So I get inside info sometimes from people you wouldn't never believe. And so that kid's, I don't think, is on their 30-man this weekend. But I will tell you, I mean, they got some really good baseball players in their program. They're going to 6 or 7, 5 to 7 freshmen, every day, which is pretty refreshing in this day and age to me, to look at that and to look at teams that are still trying to do it that way. I got a lot of respect for that. As far as their lineup goes, again, Cadina's the guys mentioning from Ohio State. They're hitting a freshman in the 4-hole that turned down some money to go to school. He's also starting a game on Saturday. He'll be worth watching. I mean, he's very talented. And so again, we'll see how it all comes together. I mean, the Bowen kid seems like he's been there 5 or 6 years. I think he DH'd Friday night. They caught a freshman the other night. They've been catching him a lot. Silva was on the last team they had that went to Omaha, the shortstop. At that time, I think he's a Team USA guy after that summer. And so obviously he's a good baseball player. And so they've got good players for sure.
Any of their guys visit here? In other words, I'm sure you probably recruited.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting. It doesn't happen very often when you play somebody and they didn't. But there wasn't a bunch of them. They got a kid named Griffin that's been hitting leadoff that I committed his uncle back in the late 90s. There's an article in Sports Illustrated. His name's Colt Griffin. It was an April Fool's joke. They said he's throwing 150. He's throwing 100. He was throwing 100, but he wasn't throwing 150.
That's harder than center field.
Yeah, now this young man was at Stephen F. last year and went over there this summer. And so, not very often do you play somebody where none of them did visit out here, but I can't recall a bunch of them that did visit. But like the Brassfield kid that's been throwing a bunch for him as a freshman out on the West Coast, I mean, that's a tough one. I mean, that's a Sarloos and John deal, if you ask me. I mean, that's a deal where you have some roots out there. Somebody calls you and says, hey, here's a guy that you guys might be interested in. And we weren't in that market, I guess.
The left-hand, number 32, I'm forgetting his name. The left-handers put up some really good numbers so far. I think pitching out of the bullpen, if I remember right.
Sloan?
Yeah.
I'm sure it's Sloan.
Yeah.
Sloan's been there a long time. Yeah, he's definitely presents some things to, it's definitely a change. And, there's changes within a baseball game. And when that change happens, you got to make adjustments. He's one of those guys that you'll have to make adjustments to. But he's throwing the ball good.
How did having your midweek game against Mexico get canceled affect your preparation for this game, for the series?
You can look at that two ways. Usually, I think our staff looks at it as you're always going to try to take things as a positive and try to build on that. But I think there is value in getting into a routine of playing your weekend and then playing a midweek. I'm pretty sure we'll do that going forward up until April 15th. If you can find us one, we're hunting one. So that's 2 days before we go to Arizona State. We don't have a midweek. That was by design at one time. And now it's like, hey, you got a date. And so I think we always look at it as a positive. But I can tell you this, the guys were excited about playing Tuesday. They were kind of bummed out when we weren't playing. And so, but to their credit, we did inter-squad Tuesday, and they were about as intentional as you can be in an inter-squad in mid-March. I mean, it's always better to play another opponent right now than to play yourself.
I'll call Tennessee for you.
There you go.
Well, and I was gonna say, you're still, what, like 3 games below the limit?
Yeah.
Is there any success of filling those?
No, we had a nibble the other day, and that's about it. Guess didn't take the bobber under, so
But you're
it was just a nibble.
But you want to play.
Yeah, I mean, really, again, right now you're getting into your conference season, and really those games are the most important ones. And if we can add some along the way, we will. It's finding the time's a hard thing, and finding the time, really, even before the reason we're 3 short again, like, is just finding somebody that'll come out here and play double midweek's not the easiest thing.
All right, thanks, everyone.
Okay, thanks.